All right, so as you know, the government isn't here to serve you anymore, if they ever were here to serve you at all. And my mother asked me to work on a project a while back. It came pretty natural, actually, because I had been thinking about this for a number of years anyway. So I want to share this with you guys so you can share it freely with like-minded individuals throughout your community in the hopes that perhaps you guys can get together and actually enforce positive change. One of the things the government wants you to be is compliant, and one of the ways that they seek to force compliance is by limiting your resources, where essentially this is how communist countries are formed, all right, where they interrupt the supply chain of food, fuel, everyday accessories like toilet paper, and eventually they say, you know what, if you just come with us, come to our concentration camps, our FEMA camps, we'll feed you, we'll take care of you. The last thing they want is people that exercise their brain and use sound doctrines and sound principles to sustain life. So I put this together in a matter of about 12 hours the other night, and I want to share it again with you guys because it's of great importance. One of the best things you can do as a community, you're not going to change Washington, D.C., not without a whole shit ton of testosterone and men with testicle fortitude, all right? And I just don't see that happening anytime soon, all right? So the next best thing is to awaken your community and start to become self-sufficient and self-reliant. And one of the greatest things that we need on this earth is good, clean, fresh food, okay? So my mom's been working on this project for a few years. She's actually physically doing this project. She's doing a phenomenal job. The first one that she did, the first garden she did was pretty small in comparison to what I've drawn up here. But I'm going to show you guys today how in your community, you guys can actually fund this, be self-sustaining, and require no assistance from the government. It's yours, okay? Now, my calculations may be a little bit off. So I'm not a botanist. I didn't go to college for any of this stuff, but I was raised in a farming community where for the majority of my life, most of the people, the elders in the community, always canned goods, jarred food, pickled eggs, all that good stuff, as well as grew their own gardens, okay? So just take that for what it's worth. But I'm here to tell you right now, the one thing they don't want you to do is get together in a community and start food plots. And I'm going to show you how easily this can be done. I'm going to show you how roughly 4,000 square feet can feed one man or woman per year for the whole year annually of food. And that's based upon a 3-month grow season or 3.5-month grow season. But I'm going to show you how you can maximize your yield on 4,000 square feet, which isn't a lot, but you can take 1,000 or 4,000 square feet, and instead of feeding one man for the year, you can feed 4 men for the year. Okay, and this is very important stuff. And of course, naturally, the byproducts and everything else from what I'm talking about can be utilized as well to feed other animals, other critters, or being used for compost, which is important in the near future because we're having a quote-unquote fertilizer issue. Well, that's a chemical fertilizer. What I'm talking about is an organic fertilizer, which is far better for you. When you realize that cutting oranges or harvesting oranges from Florida, by the time they get to you, within 24 hours, they've already lost substance and nutrients that your body needs, okay? Because that produce is dying and decaying, all right? So the point to this is you're getting a better product. You're getting a better yield. It's more nutritious for you. You're being able to consume it right from the plant. It doesn't have a shit ton of preservatives or anything else chemically added to it. All right. So pay attention. I'm gonna lay this out real good. I want you guys to share it with your friends, your family, and I'm gonna show you how cost effective this can be for your community. And this is the one thing that when people start doing in their communities, I guarantee you the government will pay attention, because remember, they need you to be subservient to them. They need you to depend on them. They are yearning for you. In fact, they are systematically designing it so you will come crawling on your knees to them. And I want to show you how you can stop that. 1 acre of land purchased in Nebraska, around $1,400, maybe a little more than that at this point, give or take. All right. In your community, it may be different. Florida, for example, 1 acre of land is pretty expensive. It's astronomical, and a subterranean greenhouse really isn't feasible due to the fact that you live at sea level. So because of your climate, though, you could still build one of these greenhouses above soil on the land. Okay, the material cost for a single greenhouse is estimated to be around $26,000. The price that I came up with here was done about 4 years ago when I was very vehement about creating one of these in the community. We just didn't get it kicked off the ground, and Lord knows, at this point, I wish I would have followed my heart and just completed one. Needless to say, you might want to add 30 to 50% markup on materials due to inflation at this point, so it could be well above 26,000, but that was a rough estimate about 4 years ago. 11 greenhouses can be erected in a single acre at a total of $104,000 with a cost projection of materials about $26,000 per unit. If you're ordering in bulk your materials, you may be able to get it around $104,000 today. All right. The labor for erection of the subterranean geothermal greenhouse, half in ground, half out of ground facility can and will be subsidized by and through local contractors and volunteers at a cost of $0. So the people who are interested in doing this, becoming self-sustaining, doesn't mean that you have to live without electricity. It doesn't mean you have to do anything different. What I'm talking about is manufacturing your own produce, which is going to lead to a higher cognitive function. You're going to be ingesting healthier foods. Naturally, you're going to feel better about yourself. Your body's going to be more energized, things of that nature. Because again, the stuff that you're getting at the store is full of preservatives. It's full of carcinogens causing cancer. There's just a number of things that they do with herbicides, pesticides, and all kinds of chemically laden shit that innately is just not good for you. So the benefits are just surmounting at this point. So with the people that are like-minded with you in your community, this can be achieved, all right? And I'm going to show you how cost-effective it can be and how easy it is to actually do. Heirloom seeds are non-GMO seeds. That's what I would recommend using. The reason that I say heirloom seeds is because as you start to grow produce, you're going to naturally allow some plants to grow to the point where they pollinate each other, thus yielding seeds. And so your investment into your seeds could be a one-time purchase, and then from that point on, you would now have a seed bank as well. Seeds are going to be extraordinarily expensive in the years to come because, again, government wants to control everything at this point. They firmly believe that they're in a position to make you bend to their will, to crawl on your knees and grovel for what little scraps they will throw off their fucking table to you. And I'm going to show you how you can stand up and say, fuck you, real peacefully, all right? So non-GMO seeds, you can get them for about $289.99. That's 40 different varieties of vegetables and what have you. It's 1,000 packs of seeds with thousands of seeds in them, all right? And that's heirloom seeds is what I predominantly focus on. And I just explained to you the reasons why. Okay, that's part of being self-sustaining, is being able to create your own seed bank. If you're using GMO seeds, they don't produce seeds, and if they do produce seeds, that's not viable to grow the next year. They lack what it takes in order to grow naturally, all right? So heirloom seeds are what I recommend. Drill a well for water on 1 acre. Inherent cost estimated around $10,000, fully operational with your head, your drip pipe, all that good stuff. I could be off. It could be upwards of almost $20,000, but don't let that take away from what I'm trying to tell you, because remember, when we unite together, we can make anything possible, all right? Total cost for complete operation subterranean geothermal greenhouses is around $115,689.99. Please do not let that cost scare you, because I'm going to show you how to diversify, and from one or from many becomes one with one great idea to make this work. Okay, so $115,689.99. Most people are going, damn, I can't drop that kind of coin. I'm not asking you to drop that kind of coin. I'm asking you to get together and co-create co-op, all right? This can be done with like-minded people in your region, in your area, and it's a perfect way to say fuck you to the government very peacefully. Operational cost annually for the following year based on pre-existing data, water and electricity consumption. Now this can be diversified if you decided to upgrade your geothermal subterranean greenhouse. Again, you could diversify with wind energy, solar energy, all that stuff. That again is going to increase your cost when you first get started. Not necessary. I mean, if you're looking to start this up this year, this can be done. The estimated cost for annual energy consumption is about $365 a year, which is roughly $1 a day. People say, well, geez, Derek, that seems kind of really low. It is in a sense, but if you understand how the geothermal technology works, and it's really not technology, it's just a discovery of man, that the 4 feet underground typically stays around 50 degrees. And what it takes to suck the air from the ground and push it to the top of the greenhouse during the summer as a form of air conditioning, and what it takes to pull it from the ground and push it up through the ground in the wintertime, which is a source of heat, 50 degrees, which helps maintain the temperature year-round in your greenhouse, all right? It doesn't take very much energy to do that. And as far as water consumption, you could put drip systems in and things like that to become more efficient, all right? Analysts on subsidization, the labor of erection of subterranean geothermal greenhouses will be subsidized by local qualified contractors and volunteers. If you get enough people interested in what I'm talking about here, you're not going to have a problem with labor, and you're not going to have to pay for it, because everybody in the community is going to benefit from it, and they're going to see the need and necessity for it. Okay, so there won't be any inherent cost. In fact, what that will do is create unity within your community. Okay, that's what we're really striving for, is to create unity in the community, connect the elders with the youth for a greater good, for a greater purpose within the community, which creates a tighter, better community that is less likely to become subject and fall to their knees to this tyrannical government. 2, labor planting, maintaining, and harvesting the produce will be subsidized by and through the community outreach program, whereas we will seek volunteers from the community to participate, such as, but not limited to, the elders of our local nursing homes and assisted living facilities, local high school students, local elementary students, nonviolent incarcerated inmates who qualify for said participation, all right, work release or whatever that may be. You have to work with your sheriff on that one, but it can be obtained. All right, the benefits for the community in doing what I'm talking about. 1, no one goes hungry. 2, you don't have to be on your knees to the federal government or any government for that matter, because now you have water, source of water, and you have substance of life, which is food, okay? Which is more than any gold or silver coin can ever be traded for, because when push comes to shove, if you're really, really, really fucking hungry and you're starving, and I offer you a gold bar versus a fucking platter of fucking cheeseburgers, 99.9% of the time, you're gonna take the fucking cheeseburgers, all right? 2, less need, if any, for welfare assistance, which by calculation should reduce the need for big government, and the cause and effect should induce less taxation for the community as a direct result, lowering property taxes and creating quantitative easing financially for the people of said community. That's right. When we work together, we play together, we stay together, we build a tighter community, and thus, in doing so, we reduce the need in receiving federal grants from the government, causing our taxes on our real estate and property to go up. Now, if you've paid attention to what I said before, you really don't owe taxes on your property. They've usurped power otherwise not delegated to them. But for immediate relief, I see this as a viable option. It's a non-violent, peaceful solution, all right? And it's called becoming self-reliant. Number 3, brings people together for the greater good of this country and community for all walks of life, with a variety of knowledge to be gained from years of wisdom and firsthand knowledge gained from the life experiences of said volunteers, participants in local communities, creating a place conducive for higher education and or learning. All right, what do I mean by that? From your bikers to your mechanics, to your ranchers, to your farm hands, everybody's going to come together. You're going to have a plethora of knowledge in the building. You're going to have very intuitive, ingenious people. You're going to have philosophers. You're going to have elders with years of wisdom under their belt, with firsthand perfected knowledge of what has actually transpired in history. This innately will create a a place in the community that is conducive for higher education and higher learning, okay? 4, makes the community self-sustaining and less dependent on government, which leads to sustained independence. That's why I do what I do. I want people to be free. I want people to understand that freedom isn't free. It never has been fucking free. And the last thing we want to do is fall into the communist clutches of this federal government and state government at this point, because they're all aligned together. They want you to be a fucking slave. They want you to be subservient. They want you on your fucking knees. And they're well on their way to accomplishing their goal in 2022. 5, healthier food being produced locally in the community leads to healthier people, easing the strain on the local medical staff and hospitals, which in turn should save the community financially, and as a direct result, lower taxes for the people in said community by reducing the need for Medicare and Medicaid programs. All right, again, federal grant programs that naturally they use in the community to raise your fucking taxes. Okay, 6, growing hearts and food community gardens, which is what my mom has started, will produce a residual food supply. A residual food supply means year after year after year, month after month after month. A residual supply of food is when you do something one time and it continues to produce year after year after year with minimal maintenance, if any maintenance at all. Okay, and what I mean by that is in these subterranean geothermal greenhouses, you can plant citrus trees, you can plant strawberries, you can plant all kinds of fruits and vegetables that require minimal maintenance aside from trimming them up here and there, and they continue to yield produce month after month after month, year after year after year with minimal effort, okay? So that is what I would call a residual food supply. Now, there are other things such as corn. You plant it and you get a one-time harvest and you got to replant it again. That is not what is residual. What is residual would be your fruit trees and some of your vegetables that you plant one time, and again, they come back year after year after year. For example, asparagus is a great residual plant. You plant it one time and year after year after year, you're able to continually harvest it with minimal effort and a form of renewable consumable energy for the people in said community for consumption. During these times of uncertainty about the food supply, isn't it nice to know we as a community will thrive? That's right. If we can get enough people together in a community to execute this plan that I've drawn up, I guarantee you will have a group of people in the community, one, that exercise higher cognitive thought process because their food intake is better, naturally leading to higher energy, better thought process, things of that nature, which is very beneficial and conducive for retaining knowledge clean across the board. All right. Now, I'm not a prime example of health because, I'm just not that way. It's amazing my brain functions with everything I've done in my life, but it does. So, 7, with volunteer participation from the local schools, both elementary students and high school students, we will ensure future generations to come that the youth in the community will always be able to produce and provide, along with gain the ability to create charts and monitor growth and production of the plants, calculating the yields each harvest they will have, and they will also be able to enjoy the fruits of their labor. So it's a bittersweet symphony, right? It's bitter in the aspect that it's going to take a little bit of effort to get it up and running, but it'll be sweet in the end, enjoying the fruits of our labor. And that's what's most important about a capitalist society, is that you understand that you're working for the greater good and you're also helping the community at the same time, but you're getting to enjoy the fruits of your fucking labor. All right. And that's important to instill in our youth. 8, the elders of the community will have a chance to reconnect with the youth in the community, creating an opportunity for beautiful relationships to develop within the community and to promote the community's growth, along with the reconnection of the community opportunities for new development and ideas may flourish as a direct result. What I mean by that is you're going to start to get the elders who've had ideas for years that have just never had anybody that was to convey them to, that may have collected interest in it, right? And their ideas may revolutionize the world. Then again, you might have somebody that's very young that has an epiphany, an idea that revolutionizes the world, but doesn't necessarily have the funding, the means, or the connections to make it happen. When we connect the elders with the youth, now we've got together in the community people who know certain people who can make shit happen. Frank knows a welder. Tom knows an electrician. This young man has an idea that may revolutionize the world. Let's get it together. Let's make it happen. So by creating these community gardens, there's an opportunity for many great ideas to flourish that may lead to the betterment of mankind, all right? What the government has always tried to do is separate us all, to keep us divided, to keep us from communicating, to keep us doing what I'm talking about right here. And if we focus on the two elements in life that we absolutely need to survive, that's food and water, that naturally draws us together, and the fact that the produce that we're producing leads to a better quality of intake into our bodies, which should lead to better cognitive thought process, there is nothing that can't be achieved, all right? So as a direct result, leading to more productive, along with the reconnection of the community, opportunities for new developments and ideas may flourish as a direct result, leading to more productive community in the near future with inspiration and admiration for all to see. That's right. We got to lead by fucking example. All right. We got to show people in other communities this shit can be done. And the fruits of our labor are not a waste of our time. All right. Number 9, elders in the nursing home and the assisted living facilities. I've grown up in them my entire life due to my mother's profession. All right. Are always looking for a way to stay busy and connected with the community. All right. These people have put their hearts and souls in your community. All right. They've watched you grow up. They've helped raise you, the whole 9 fucking yards. And so often they're discarded and put in nursing homes. The United States of America is one of the only countries that when people get old, they fucking just throw them into a nursing home. I've seen people from New York be shipped to Nebraska to be left to fucking die, all right? No friends, no family in the area, no nothing, and they just ship them out there because it's cost effective and it's fucking cheap to warehouse their elders in Nebraska versus putting them up in New York, all right? Growing Hearts Food and Community Gardens will provide an excellent opportunity to uplift spirits once again, find purpose for those who at times feel as though all is lost and that they have been discarded by the community that they love so much. All right. So now we're lifting up spirits in the community. We're helping the elders reconnect with the youth. We're giving them a purpose again. They're not just sitting in a fucking building waiting to fucking die. All right. And they're not subjected to the same mundane fucking schedule day in and day out. Remember, these people aren't fucking criminal. They didn't do anything wrong. Their assets were stripped from them by the state more likely because they weren't intelligent enough to put anything under trust, or they were never told to put things into a trust. So the state comes in, says, hey, they're non-cara mentis. We're going to take over. We're going to put them in a nursing home. The family fights to keep them out of the nursing home. The state ultimately wins because the state is administering a bankruptcy. The judges see what the state wants to do and they abide by it. And then what they do is they liquidate the fucking, the old man or the old elder lady's, farm assets, trailers, trucks, you name it, they liquidate it because, well, we've got to subsidize the costs here of the state, the burden to the state, which rises people's taxes if we don't subsidize by liquidating their estate. And thus the future family, okay, gets nothing of the estate. In fact, if you think about it, your family, your generations of family for the last 10,000 years have busted their fucking ass. What do you have to show for it? Not a fucking thing. You want to know why? Because the government comes in and takes it all. It liquidates the fucking shit. They steal it because they don't want you to become powerful from what your families over the generations have amassed, which is an abundance of fucking wealth. Okay, don't make any mistakes about it. We are very, very wealthy people because our ancestors busted their fucking home. What has the government done for it? Well, let me tell you something. The government creates nothing. They are nothing more than a bunch of fucking thieves. They rob Peter to pay Paul. Are you paying attention to what the fuck I'm saying? I'm telling you, the government can't give what it doesn't have unless it steals it from somebody else. That's right. That's a fact. And what are they stealing? Your life source energy, your sweat equity, and your intent. Your intent was never to build a fucking cushion for the government so they could lie, loot, plunder, and steal from you, your family, and future generations. Your intent was to build an empire so you could leave it to your offspring, to their offspring, to their offspring's offspring. The only families that have seemed to figure this out is the Rothschilds, the fucking, the banking cartels, some of your elitists. They've figured this out, that a family that sticks together, plays together, and stays together has an abundance of assets that their future generations can lean on later on down the road. But was any of that taught to you in public school? No, it wasn't, because their objective is to separate and divide families. Their only opposition is a family that sticks together and plays together, and they don't want that, ladies and gentlemen. So if you listen to what I'm telling you, your community is your fucking family. If you stand together, you ride together, you party together, you fucking die together, and you stand on sound doctrines and principles, you are less likely to be fucked with, all right? Here we go. Number 10, Growing Hearts and Food Community Gardens would like to extend an opportunity to local incarcerated inmates who have been convicted of nonviolent crimes who qualify for work release programs seeking rehabilitation. The goal is to help them find purpose in their life through working with Growing Hearts and Food Community Gardens, wherein they will have an opportunity once again to reconnect with the local community, learn how to plant and maintain a garden. The opportunity to connect with other volunteers will lead to endless job opportunities and elevated communication skills, granting rise to a higher self-esteem, leading to a steadfast rehabilitation as a productive member of our great community. Remember, people make stupid fucking mistakes in their life, all right? I am not free from sin. I have made an abundance of mistakes. I have gotten caught for some of the shit I've done, and then I guess, there are times where I haven't been caught for some of the shit I've done, all right? Never hurting anybody, as far as intentionally going out to disrupt or cause harm, damage, injury, or loss to anybody, all right? I've done some things in my life that statutorily many people in the community would disagree with, but again, didn't harm anybody, so I didn't really break the fucking law. All right. The advantages to participating local businesses and corporations of the Growing Hearts and Food Community Gardens, which is going to be structured as a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Now, hear me out, okay? The local contractors and corporations are always looking for a place to dump money. Your serious producers within your community are tired of giving the money, their tax dollars, to the federal fucking government so they can go bomb fucking kids in some other fucking country they've never heard of. All right. I speak to a plethora of very, very, very prominent businessmen. All right. And they're always saying, Derek, what do we do with this surplus? If I don't fucking get rid of it, every last bit of it goes to the federal government in taxes. Every last bit of it goes to the state in taxes. Like, I'm going to lose $250,000 this year to the fucking federal government. And I really don't want to send it to these shitbags. What do? You need to find yourself a nonprofit organization you can dump that into and use it as a tax write-off. But better yet, make sure that there's a nonprofit organization in your community. So when you dump that $250,000 into this nonprofit, you know that you're going to get to enjoy the fruits and the rewards of your labor, okay? And that it's going to be spent in your community. And you know for a fucking fact that those funds aren't going to be touched by those lying, looting, pandering, putrid pieces of shit in Washington, D.C. to buy bombs to bomb Baghdad, or to give to the Taliban or ISIS, or to fund the CIA's drug running operation, or to fucking plant soldiers over in Afghanistan to watch poppy fucking fields, right? So these are the legitimate conversations I have with very prominent businessmen. And this is the answer to that, all right? The local contractors, the benefit from having this structured as a 501c3 is knowing that their sweat equity, their labor is not going to waste, okay? And that they get to see the rewards of being able to spend their tax dollars how the fuck they want to spend them. All right. So local contractors and corporations will now have an opportunity to choose where their tax dollars are spent, thus having the ability to support the community and reap the rewards and benefits by charitably contributing to Growing Hearts and Food Community Garden. Now, you can call your operation whatever you want. This is drawn up from my mother again. Whereby said corporation and contractors alike, based on their adjustable gross income, AGI, are eligible for a tax deduction of up to 60% of their taxes, okay? Up to 60%. So 60% of $250,000 they can throw into this thing, and then they can find another organization to throw the rest into if they want. All right, now, you may think this is absolutely fucking batshit crazy, but I'm going to tell you right now, I know a lot of savvy businessmen that absolutely fucking hate giving tax dollars to the lying, looting, pandering, putrid pieces of shit in Washington, D.C. We know for a fact they just squander the shit away. We know for a fact that they're working against the American people. We know for a fucking fact that it doesn't benefit us. And we know that we never see any benefit of sending anything to these lying, looting, pandering pieces of shit, right? But one thing we do know is that if we have a 501c3 in the community that is goal-oriented into doing shit for the community, we know that our kids are going to get to enjoy the fruits of our labor. And if we must be forced to give fucking taxes to these fucking cretins, let's choose wisely how we spend them. Let's make sure our communities grow. All right. And that's what this Growing Hearts and Food Community Gardens is all about. So check this out. The benefits to the contributors is now known with certainty. Their tax dollars are being spent within the community for the greater good of the community. All right. We always want to improve where we live, right? We always want to improve our surroundings, our areas, have nice parks, nice ponds, clean water, clean energy, recreational areas for the offspring. All that good shit can be funded within the community by the community themselves, and especially the prominent people that are good with business and understand they don't want to fucking send their tax dollars to fucking a bunch of bureaucrats. All right. Any cash contributions, donations that exceed $250, Growing Hearts and Food Community Gardens is required pursuant to the IRS to provide a written letter of acknowledgement, aka a receipt, for said contributions and donations so that it can be reported to the IRS of where your deduction comes from, right? Number 2, pursuant to the IRS, individuals as well as corporations can contribute non-cash donations with a tax deduction ranging from anywhere from 25% up to 50%. Items that qualify as non-cash items are as follows: clothes, household goods, and new and used cars. Now check this out. From this Growing Hearts Community Gardens, okay, comes an opportunity for clothing the less fortunate, all right, the people that have gone through some hard times. So here's another benefit here now. So we have, on top of this 501c3, now it's starting to grow into a community that plays together, stays together, and takes care of each other, right? Then we also have household goods for the ones that are less fortunate, don't have egg beaters, whatever the hell. All these things are tax deductible, which reduces your taxes, okay? Takes it away from having to be paid in because you're being charitable within your community and you're seeing the benefits of making your community better. All right, this is the shit they should be teaching you motherfuckers in school. All right, I dropped out of school for a reason because that fucking shit was a joke, a fucking joke. All right, new and used cars. There's all kinds of corporations looking to give new and used cars to people because they don't necessarily want to sell it and pay taxes on it or whatever else. Of course, most corporations are going to utilize their cars, and over time, through a matter of deductions, they're going to continue to deduct the value of the car from their taxes every fucking year, which is great. That's good business. Again, I'm not against capitalism in any way, shape, or fucking form. In order to have freedom, you must have a capitalistic society, okay? If one seeks to donate non-cash items, the IRS Form 8283 is required for anything that exceeds $500 in value with an attached appraisal receipt if the item is worth more than $5,000. Now, again, I'm going to go into a little disclaimer here. These are just things that I know from studying the law. Please just take it for what it is. I'm going to get back to the meat and potatoes of this whole operation. Disclaimer: Growing Hearts and Food Community Gardens does not provide legal advice nor advice on tax preparation. To be assured your contribution donation falls within the purview and the scope of the taxable deductions, please consult with your local CPA and reputable tax assessor and or advisor. All right, here's some fun facts to think about, ladies and gentlemen. $40 billion was just given to another country to aid in their prosperity. Who we talking about? We talk about fucking Ukraine here, and we know what they're really doing. They're fueling up World War III. They armed ISIS. They armed the Taliban. They fucking they're arming Ukraine. They surround Russia at this point. Russia's had enough. I don't fucking blame them. And what Russia's really doing is calling out to the American people to get off their ass, stand up, and remove these motherfuckers that are running the world into the ground. Russia's really giving everybody an opportunity to see what's going on. Although I don't agree with everything Donald Trump has said in the past, I will tell you this: there was a lot fucking exposed in the 4 years he was in office. Now, moving on. That's going to come from your pocket through taxation. All right, the $40 billion given to Ukraine is eventually going to be felt by you at home. Okay, with that in mind, I would like to take the time to show you what can be done with $40 billion here in the United States of America. That's right. You know, my mother used to tell me, Derek, before you can help other people, you must be able to help yourself first. All right, and it never fazed me. I was always giving the shirt off my back because that's how I was fucking raised. But she also told me, you know, look, you can't give what you don't have, and you can't help if you yourself are in a position that need help, right? So instead of giving all these countries all this shit that eventually we're going to pay for through taxation, which is essentially the government stealing your life source energy, your sweat equity, okay, your currency, which is your energy. So we need to start focusing on home. There are 3,006 counties in the United States of America, and if we divided 40 billion amongst 3,006 counties with the plan created by Growing Hearts and Food Community Gardens, each county would have at their disposal $13,306,719.89. Now, that doesn't seem like a whole lot, but I will tell you this. There are a lot of sparse counties out there throughout the United States that have less than 4,000 people that live within the county, okay? So $13,306,719.89 with this plan that I've devised goes a long motherfucking ways, all right? Based upon the model constructed for subterranean geothermal greenhouses, every county could begin to grow food year-round. Remember, I'm talking about taking 4,000 square feet and making it, instead of being able to produce food for one man for the entire year, taking that same amount of space, and because we can grow food year-round in a subterranean geothermal greenhouse, making it so it produces for 4 people year-round. All right, so we're maximizing the square footage and the production and yield and output that actually makes it feasible to feed 4 people on 4,000 square feet, which is fucking, mathematically, it's beautiful. All right. Now, you can have some things that yields aren't near as good in the winter, blah, 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 blah. But what I'm telling you is the average growing season is about three and a half months. And so naturally you have 4 harvesting cycles. Okay. Grow food year-round and begin to become self-sustaining within your community, which is exactly what the government of the state as well as the federal government doesn't want you to fucking be. They don't want you to be self-sustaining. Listen to this. Number 2, 1 acre of land is 43,560 square feet. Each subterranean geothermal greenhouse is 40 by 100. Why would I divide it into 40 by 100? Well, let's just say that you get a fungus or, some type of ailment within the greenhouse. Instead of contaminating all 43,560 square feet, now you have it isolated. It's something that you can shut down and that it's not part of the rest of the systems. And so you can contain the problems that you have in one 4,000 square foot section, all right? Equaling 4,000 square feet of continual production of food year-round. This amount of space in a typical grow season is what is required to grow food for one person. The typical grow season, again, is only about 3 months, 3.5 months, all right, for an entire year. By having the capability to maximize production of food with subterranean geothermal greenhouse model, this same amount of space is able to grow and produce food for 4 people annually every year. Number 3, with 1 acre of land, we are able to erect 11 subterranean geothermal greenhouses, and by maximizing the yield and growth year-round, are now capable of producing enough food to sustain 44 people on 1 acre of land per year annually. Now, that doesn't seem like a lot, but you gotta start somewhere. There's concept here. And then when you put concept into action and you have production, now people can see the reality of what I'm talking about. Now, this has already been done. I didn't come up with this fucking harebrained idea one night dreaming about how I could fucking fist fuck the government. Well, that's kind of how it happened. But I came across a 70-year-old man who was retired from the Postal Service. He was a retired teacher, lives in Neely, Nebraska, and he started a subterranean greenhouse attached to his house. And he grows oranges and lemons and limes and all this stuff, and he's self-sustaining. Now, this model has evolved since he did this. It's gotten better with technology, and now he's able to bring the cost effectiveness down to about $365 a year. That's $1 a day, ladies and gentlemen. Now, here's where it gets beautiful. 44 people invest in this idea. 44 people. Remember how I said it was about $115,000 to get this operational, right? 44 people at $2,515.68 a piece make 1 acre, 11 greenhouses, absolutely fucking feasible, and feeds 44 people. Now, before you go, Jesus, that's extravagant. $2,515.68 from each participating member. Remember, that's a one-time fucking fee. That's to get the building up. That's to get the fucking well in the ground. That's to get everything else. The residuals from that far exceed your initial cost investment. Now, later down the road, sure, there's going to be maintenance. There's going to be things that arrive. There's going to be PEX that needs fixed. There's going to be things that have to be dealt with and maintained. Sure. But, however, if you think about it, the average family, single family home spends $4,942 a year annually. That's $411 a month. Now, I know those numbers are egregiously underestimated at this point due to inflation. When I'm going to the grocery store, I'm spending $200-300 and I'm looking in the cart and it's only a quarter full and I'm going, what the fuck? Right? And most of that is all bullshit and junk food, right? And none of it is really good for you. Even the fruits and vegetables all have preservatives. They're all grown in a certain way that isn't conducive for good, healthy, clean food. And again, once that produce is shaken from the tree, harvested from the tree, whatever it is, it's already losing its nutritional value. By the time you get it from Florida a week later, it's lost a magnificent amount of nutrition, okay, that your body isn't going to be receiving. Having this in your own community, one, now we're self-sustaining. Two, we have the ability to tell the government to fuck you in a really polite political way. Kiss our ass, we're self-sustaining. You know, fuck you. It's a nice fuck you. That's all. That's the politest way I can put it, all right? So hear me out. We're not done yet, because I want to show you some things. Number 4, the community of 4,000 people would require 100 acres. All right, now it'd actually be a little more than 100 acres because if you actually do the math and realize that 1 acre is only 43,650 square feet, you realize that you can't put 11 buildings on 11 subterranean geothermal greenhouses on 1 acre. One building would naturally be shorter. Plus, you got to have some space in there for running some other things for your geothermal. However, okay, this is just a rough estimate. So you people out there that are really critical thinkers and crunching numbers going, Derek, you're off the map. I'm off the map a little bit. I'll be the first one to tell you, but I'm not off by fucking much. All right. A community of 4,000 people would require 100 acres of land and approximately 1,100 subterranean geothermal greenhouses to sustain life. That's to be self-sufficient and without using government. Now think about this just for a second. Give or take a few. 1,100 greenhouses. Jesus, Derek, that's a lot of fucking work. No, hear me out. I got the solution to this shit. Remember, we're talking about bringing the community together, making it a better environment. You're not going to change Washington, D.C., but what you can do to enforce positive change in Washington, D.C. is become a self-sustaining community that says, fuck you guys, kiss our ass, we don't fucking need you. Now they're going to come to you and grovel. What can we do for you? You can do what you're fucking told to do and you can honor your fucking oaths. Now they're coming to you because you're not giving them fucking tax dollars anymore. Why? Because your local communities, your local contractors, your local big corporations are now saying, hey, we see the need to invest in our people because we govern ourselves way fucking better than they could ever imagine, right? And we lead by example by showing other communities it can be done. If each member in the community donated 15 fucking minutes each day, all right, to the production and cultivation of the model presented by Growing Hearts and Food Community Gardens, each member would have contributed 91.25 hours. 91.25 hours. You spend more time pulling your pud in a year than would be required to maintain this fucking garden of 1,100 buildings, okay? You spend more time jerking off and fucking fumbling around and fucking off than it would take you to donate 15 minutes a fucking day, all right? So contribute 91.25 hours for the year. To give context to this discussion, at a minimum wage of $7.25 an hour, which many people make more than $7.25, but I'm just giving context here. At 91.25 hours at $7.25 an hour would be a total of $661.56. That's before taxes. Remember, Uncle Sam gets his fucking cut too, right? I'll talk about that later. That's a W4 Victor to change your W4V to change your tax status so these fuckers aren't getting any of your fucking paycheck anymore too. That's a topic for another discussion. Maybe it'll feed in at the end of this. But I want you to pay attention to this. $661.56 for 91.25 hours of your time fucking annually every year. Now, I just told you how much it cost as a light estimate as to how much a single family household spends on food every fucking year annually. Before taxes, keep these numbers in mind, all right? The average household in America spends roughly $4,942 a year annually on food that equates to roughly $411 a month. For your contribution of 15 minutes a day, just saved $4,280 for the fucking year. That's called quantitative easing. Not only that, but you're building a community. You're doing greater things for a greater good for your future fucking offspring. It can't be fucking beat. All right? That's where the quantitative easing financially accumulates for the contributing community members in this demonstration. 6. Via the applied efforts within the community to grow and produce food year-round, there will be less need for food assistance programs and, in turn, less reliance on government increasing independence and the need to finance such programs which, by cause and effect, would lower property taxes in said participating communities, again creating quantitative easing financially for the community, putting your funds, that's right, back in your motherfucking pockets. It ain't fucking rocket science, people. Healthy food equals healthier people, which in turn reduces the strain of medical staff and hospitals, bringing down the use and or need for Medicaid, Medicare by reduction of the use of such social programs promoting healthier lifestyles. Again, over time, we should see a reduction in taxation, leading to quantitative easing financially for the people in the community. Plus, we're bringing the community together, all right? We're going to be funding other ideas. We're going to be doing other things. Not to mention, I'll be honest with you, when you start to produce food like this, there are going to be times where the harvest is too great for the consumption of the community. Now, guess what? Now you got a surplus. That's where the hustle comes in. That's where the hustle and flow comes in. Because now you can start to divvy up this stuff to other stores below a wholesale value. So you're not harming your stores and your community. You're actually fucking helping them. And the produce that they're going to be able to sell at below a wholesale mark that they buy it at, they're going to be able to gain a little bit of profit, bringing the price back down from inflation. Fuck, it's a genius idea. And you can do this in your fucking communities. All right. Now, Walmart's not going to buy your shit. You don't want to sell it to Walmart. You sell it to your mom and pop stores, because that's what they're trying to get rid of. Mom and pops. We don't want to get rid of mom and pops. Mom and pops are reasonable. We can communicate with them. When we fall upon hard times, there are people in our community that say, hey, you know what? I know you're in hard times. Tell you what, I'm going to give you this food. I'm going to give you this shelter. I'm going to give you this whatever it is. And you pay me back with some sweat equity, with some labor, or you pay me back when you can. There's so many people in a wonderful community that I grew up in that are like that. It's fucking amazing, all right? Nobody goes without. Everybody takes care of each other, all right? And we don't make it a fucking burdensome problem. We just see a problem and we fucking fix the problem. That's how a community should be. A community that plays together and stays together and works together is ultimately happier, and shit gets done that way. 8. The spoiled produce will not go to waste by this model's design, as the first option for spoiled produce is compost for future fertilization, which consequently they're all saying, oh, we got a shortage of chemically laden shit to put all over your field for our GMO fucking unclean, unhealthy fucking food, right? Well, who gives a shit about all that? And creating your own compost, which would be your first desirable option for your wasted, spoiled produce. Now, as a less desirable option, there's always the hog farm and the fucking chickens, ladies and gentlemen, which you're going to eat later down the fucking road. So it's really not a waste of your time and your energy to harvest the spoils, put them in a fucking 55-gallon fucking trash can, and haul that shit out to the chickens and the hogs. You got good bacon, good ham. If you're fucking, against all the pork products, then fine. You've still got fucking chickens that'll eat that shit, all right? And as a less desirable option, hog farms are always willing to take spoiled goods for their hogs. It's a win-win any way you fucking look at it. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Growing Hearts and Food Community Gardens, a 501c3 nonprofit organization, we thank you for your time and consideration in indulging in our dialectical reform and sharing in our vision to create unity within our communities while promoting independence and self-sustaining way of life, and politely telling the federal government, you can kiss our fucking ass. We don't fucking need you. You tyrannical pieces of shit that don't honor your oath, that are absolutely hell-bent on destroying our fucking way of life. Kiss our fucking ass. It's the politest, most respectful, non-violent way you can tell these people to go fuck themselves. All right, so with that said, I just wanted to bring that back up because my last video was a little broken. And I wanted to tell you that by design, by that model, it's roughly about $515.68 per 44 participants to create what I'm talking about on 1 acre of land. And maybe you just do it as a test model. Every little bit fucking helps. All right. If you think about it in your community, predominantly where I was at, there aren't very many people on food assisted programs. Okay. And naturally, by getting them off of those programs, you should see a reduction in your taxes. Okay. You don't have a burden on the community anymore because the community is taking care of itself. And anytime the government offers a benefit, you can guarantee they're getting 3 to 4 times more back than what they're giving. So stop doing that shit. Let's start just taking care of ourselves and tell these motherfuckers to fuck off. They're vampires. They're leeches. They're fucking parasites, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm showing you a way that is viable, it's feasible, it's a concept that's already in production, it's obtainable, and it can be fucking done with the right attitude, with the right mindset, with the right leaders put in place. This is fucking achievable. And everybody at your county board and your city council should be ranting and raving about this opportunity and saying, look, this is viable. Ladies and gentlemen, when we are being told that our supply chains are being put in danger, and if the truckers shut down for fucking a week to 2 weeks, we will have sheer pandemonium here because people won't be able to fucking eat or survive, which means we will increase criminal activity in our communities fucking 100-fold. I'll tell you what makes a very honorable man a very dangerous man: when he's put in a situation that he feels that he has to do things that would otherwise be unlawful out of necessity to survive. That means your good friend Tom, 3 doors down, may be the type of guy that would put a gun to your head to take shit out of your refrigerator to feed his family. All right, you want to see good men become very, very sinister and fucking evil? Put them in a position where they feel like they have to fucking feed their family and they'll do anything it takes to do it. That's no bullshit. I'll tell you that right out the gate. I would do anything for my friends and my family. I'd do anything for my fucking community in a fucking heartbeat. And my police record proves that shit. All right? So I love you guys. I hope this is inspirational. I hope it helps you. Share it with your friends and family. It's a viable option. These are geothermal, subterranean greenhouses. They grow food year round because we're using the energy from the earth that's a constant 50 to 55 degrees. One, we're using it for air conditioning in the summer. We pump it to the top of the greenhouse and it cools the air in the building. And then we're using it in the wintertime to force it from the ground to the surface of the ground. Naturally, heat rises. So we're using natural law here to make this conducive, keeping the temperatures in the greenhouse, especially in the winter, conducive for still yielding produce. Maybe a little bit slower because of the temperature drops, but just the same, keeping things alive, keeping produce rolling, and being able to feed the community, creating quantitative easing for the community and making them self-sustaining, which is exactly what your federal government doesn't want you doing. So let's take the time to evaluate this information and go, you know what? Fuck it. It's time to say fuck you without violence and see what they do. See what they do. In California, I already know what they're going to do. They're going to come to your backyard and they're going to destroy your shit. And that's just proof that you motherfuckers need to stand up and tell Nancy Pelosi to kiss your ass. And the next hole you dig, maybe you use her for fertilizer. I'm out.